Jeremy Fowler, ESPN's national NFL reporter, on the Rich Eisen Show, talking about teams who could make some noise this year.
Which is the team that you're hearing about from other coaches, other members of our profession that on the outset of the season we should be, you think, talking about a little bit more?
Yeah, I kind of lean on my training camp tours. I went
Please.
around between joint practices and tours. I hit 16 teams up. You mentioned the Browns. Watching them, their defense is going to be awesome. I don't think there's any doubt about that. There's still questions about Deshaun Watson. We haven't seen him much. I saw him throw a little bit. He looked pretty good. I wouldn't say he looked like, wow, top 5 quarterback, but that was just one practice, and they didn't have the best offense that day. It was a joint practice with the Vikings, but the defense, particularly the cornerbacks and the backfield, it would shock me if they're not one of the league's very best. So I think the Browns are, roster-wise, are as well positioned as just about anybody outside of maybe 3 or 4 teams right now. They've done a really good job of building that up. So if they get just capable quarterback play, they can win 11 and 12 games.
And Jeff, we've said that. That's spot on. It's absolutely accurate.
My first thought there, Dave, was going to be, doesn't that sound familiar? Doesn't that sound familiar?
But a national guy saying it.
Yes, Jeremy Fowler. We're going to have to go ahead and throw some likes on some of those tweets you have out there. But the thing also, though, when you were talking about the secondary the way you did, what is the one thing you're not talking about when you're at a joint practice? Well, you're not mentioning the pass rush. Yeah. You're not mentioning Myles Garrett. So, these things, and they worked so well hand in hand last year. And, how you ended up with Martin Emerson, who was great as a rookie, but didn't have any turnovers, 4 interceptions in year 2. Greg Newsome hadn't had an interception up until last year, a big, huge pick 6 down in Baltimore. So you have these great coverage guys. You have good safeties, all with the ability to get around the football, and a pass rush that is currently led by the reigning defensive player of the year. So yes, and I did something last night with our network where we're talking a little bit about Deshaun and the way the running back room is set up, and is it going to be like lights out and tossing the pill all over the place the way it was with Joe Flacco last year? No, I think the Browns would probably prefer it to be more, a death of 1,000 paper cuts, and it's, well, if you're not covering the tight end in the flat, I'm going to hit it all day. Okay, well, you covered Cooper. Okay, well, you covered Judy. Okay, well, you covered Cedric Tillman. Well, nobody's covering Elijah Moore. Oh, you know what? Nobody's covering Jerome Ford out of the backfield. I'm just going to take what you're going to give me. And they're to the point now where even their 4th and 5th options are quality athletes. They can run after the catch. And that really should make Deshaun's life easier. And another point to this is understanding the way the tackle situation is for Deshaun, if anything is going to maybe get him to speed up, is that he doesn't necessarily know truly what these guys are capable of yet. So if that should give him even more of a, hey, I got to get this and I got to get it out. I don't care who it is. First open guy is getting the pill.
Well, and the other thing, and Mary Kay Cabot tweets this out. So when Jeremy Fowler was here for the joint practices, Denzel Ward didn't practice, nor did Greg Newsome. So Newsome's back at practice, hasn't cleared the protocol yet, and we mentioned that. So the reason I say that, part of clearing the protocol is you go through practice and you run around, and then we take another baseline. So it's part of the process. But Fowler saw him without 2 of their top 3 corners, and Martin Emerson showed out, and so did the younger guys, Miles Harden and Halasi. So it's young, it's deep. If only we could find some wide receivers that you draft and develop like you do cornerbacks, because the cornerbacks on this for this franchise are outstanding.
Well, you're led by 2 defensive backs. You know what I'm saying? Your head coach is a former defensive back. Your general manager is a defensive back. And one thing that I love that they do is they make a point of drafting a cornerback every season. And, it's a deep position. You usually carry 6. The Browns have 6. They already have 3 on the practice squad. You can look on defense. You can never have enough corners. You can never have enough pass rushers. So you continue to tap that market and tap it and tap it and tap it. It also gives you the ability to extend your own, and then if you have to move on from a player or 2, recoup some draft capital that way. We all know the Browns are going to have some big decisions to make here, come, not this offseason, the following offseason, or maybe even by this time next summer, where you're going to be talking about Greg Newsome and Martin Emerson Jr. and what is the future for both. It's going to be really difficult if Denzel is still here and still going strong to then extend both MJ Emerson and certainly extend Greg Newsome. That's why it's okay that you have a Cam Mitchell. That is why it's okay you have a Khalifa Lassie. That is okay why you have a Miles Harden. And most likely, what will they do again next spring? They will go out and they will probably draft yet another cornerback. The well should never run dry defensively on those positions, because that's where you can really get into a tough spot. You don't want to be playing, because a lot of times, one of your primary special teamers is a corner, but that doesn't necessarily mean you want him to ever play corner. So, look, they know what they're doing. They know the model that works for them on defense. What Jim Schwartz needs, is kind of what the Browns like to chase after anyway. And, for a little over a year now, that marriage of Jim Schwartz to the way, Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski run a team, build a roster, it's really, really meshed perfectly well.